Mid-America Industrial Park's Living Grand on Grand Lake is made possible by
It was important for me to stay in Pryor because I have a lot of family around here and that aspect is very important in my life. I first started going to RSU my freshman year of college in Pryor, and from that experience I was able to meet some people from Orchids through a scholarship that I was receiving, and they offered me an internship, and that internship turned into this position. Working for Orchids has been a phenomenal experience. They have brought me into the real world with open arms. It's great that Mid-America companies like Orchid contribute to scholarships like mine that helped me get my education. There's no limit to what you can do out here.
I had the drive to boost my earning power.
I was driven to be more competitive in the job market.
Finishing my degree, that's what drives me.
If you left college without a degree, Reach Higher, Oklahoma's degree completion program, can change your life. You get affordable tuition, flexible class schedules with online options, and a degree from a state university.
I was driven to earn my diploma.
And I did it.
Apply today at reachhigheroklahoma.org. Let your drive drive you.
The Grand River Dam Authority is Oklahoma's state-owned electric utility, fully funded by revenues from electric and water sales instead of taxes. GRDA electricity touches 75 of 77 counties in the state and serves as an economic development engine for all of Oklahoma. At no cost to taxpayers, GRDA also manages 70,000 surface acres of lakes, including Grand Lake, Lake Hudson, and the W.R. Hallway Reservoir. Annually, the efforts of Team GRDA facilitate over $450 million in economic activity in Oklahoma.
and by viewers and members like you.
Coming up on this week's Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake, if you love to fish but don't know where to go on Grand Lake, this retired firefighter is coming to the rescue. Plus, for 29 years, he was the voice that we all woke up to in Tulsa. Today, this broadcast Hall of Famer is now dedicated to the preserving of the oral history of Oklahoma. And we'll take you to the 23rd annual Hook and Cook-Off at the South Grand Lake Airport. All of these stories and more coming up on Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake.
And this
is Living Grand.
And this is Living Grand.
This is Living Grand.
And this is Living Grand.
And this is Living Grand on Grand Lake.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Royal in for Christy, who's still out there on the water somewhere having a great vacation. How does that happen? Well, our first story today is one I think you'll like. If you love wetting a hook, you don't know where to go on Grand Lake, well then you're in luck. South Grand Bass Guide Service has come to the rescue. Hal Sisco, a retired firefighter, has decided to share his knowledge of this great lake with anyone who wants to catch that lunker.
They show up here, they might buy a place here, a waterfront place, and they want to catch some fish, they want to see Grand Lake, and they hire me and we go catch some fish and we have a big time here. I actually grew up in southern Michigan, so my dad fished Lake Erie. Dad always had a boat. We always trolled for walleye, fished the inland lakes for crappie. Got into smallmouth bass when I was a teenager, started chasing the smallmouth bass in Lake Sinclair. And a friend of mine had already moved down here and was working for the city of Broken Arrow. He was a fleet maintenance supervisor. And I said, think I can get a job? Michigan was pretty depressed at the time. And he said, yeah. So I came down here and I got on working in the fleet maintenance division. And then my dream was always be a fireman. So I kept applying with the city and finally got hired on the city of Broken Arrow. And then I met my wife, and she's from Bonita up here. Her mother's got a place on Duck Creek. I was a fireman for 28 and a half years. I retired, and I was fishing every day. And I had helped other guides when they needed a second boat. Say they had 4 clients. Usually we put 2 in a boat. So they would call me and say, hey, you want to work Saturday? And yeah, sure. So that's how I got started in this. Then I started working with another guide service and still currently work with one other guide service, Honey Creek Outdoors in Grove, Oklahoma. The biggest part of a fish's life is the reproductive cycle, spawning. That dictates the spring part of the season for those fish. They're going to come in off the main lake into a big cove such as this. They're all going to stage up and they're going to eat. They're going to eat because they have to put that weight on before they spawn, because when they actually go into the spawn, there's going to be about a 2 to 3 week period there. They're going to eat very little, and when they're done, they're weak. Now, and it's going to take them another 2 weeks before they feel like really chasing down food again. And when they recuperate, and then they're going to bite again, but they continually move. They move shallow in the spring. They transition, say, on a point in the back of a cove. They'll come right back to it when they're done spawning. They'll eat a little bit, but a lot of these fish go right back out to the main lake. They live on the main river channel, the 100 foot of water out on the main lake. We're going to stop the boat on fish, and we're going to make a lot of stops, and we're going to catch some fish, because when we make enough stops, we're going to hit fish that are actively feeding, fish that want to bite, and they'll aggressively attack a lure. What we're doing right now is we're working some big plastic worms on a secondary point, and we've got a school of fish down there. This is what I'm catching. They're not giant fish. This fish probably weighs, 2 3/4 pounds. This is a male fish. You can see how skinny this fish is. It recently spawned. Now it's came out to the secondary point right here to eat shad, to get his body weight back up. He's a little bit skinny, but within a month, he'll be good and fat. We'll find the fish on the electronics, and we'll make some casts to them, and we'll work that right through the school of fish real slow, and it's just tantalizing to them. And they'll go ahead and suck it in. For the majority, we can have a good time. We're going to catch some fish. They're interested in eating fish. We catch crappie, white bass. Everybody's making fish tacos out of the white bass. Right now, the white bass are probably the best game in town. They're surfacing, they're coming to the top, chasing shad. When it's good, everybody it's 2 at a time. I mean, it's that good. So somebody's always catching them. Somebody's always catching them. And all I gotta do is pick up the phone and say, David, my bite down here is going away. Where are you catching them? And he'll say, Elk River. Well, guess what? I'm trailering to the Elk River and putting in. So we kind of have a guide network of who's catching them where. That's the best part, watching somebody catch them. Lift him in here. All right. There you go, hold your fish up. Good deal. There we go. Let's get a bigger one. Let's get a bigger one.
Now this year promises to be a great year for catching fish. Stay with us. We'll have the voice from the past coming up. You're watching Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake.
It was important for me to stay in Pryor because I have a lot of family around here, and that aspect is very important in my life. I first started going to RSU my freshman year of college in Pryor, and from that experience I was able to meet some people from Orchids through a scholarship that I was receiving, and they offered me an internship, and that internship turned into this position. Working for Orchids has been a phenomenal experience. They have brought me into the real world with open arms. It's great that Mid-America companies like Orchid contribute to scholarships like mine that helped me get my education. There's no limit to what you can do out here.
Today I'd like to help familiarize boaters with buoys commonly found on the waterways that we might be boating. One of the first and most common buoys that we come across are no-wake buoys. These buoys help to indicate how far we need to be from certain obstacles. The state law requires us to be 150 feet from any bridges, docks, piers, anchored or moored vessels. So these indicate how far we need to stay from these obstacles. The second buoy that we might encounter is a square, which indicates information in that area. It could explain that there is a marina or a restaurant in the area. The third commonly found on our waterways is a triangle, which indicates that there's some kind of danger in the area. Could be sandbars in the water or some kind of shallow obstruction or piers or old bridges. When you see these, please stay out of the area. The last buoy I have indicates that it is an exclusion area. This area indicates that boaters should not go past that point for many reasons. So when you're out on the waterways, make sure you pay attention to the buoys and have a safe day.
And now, time for the Grand Lake Chronicle events page. On July 3rd, make your way by land or by Grand to watch the Duck Creek Fireworks Show. Enjoy never-before-seen shell displays and a special patriotic musical score. Plus, come early to witness a flyover by the Warbirds and the U.S. Air Force F-16s. For more information, visit DuckCreekFireworksOK.com. Some of the fastest boats in the country are lining up for this year's Glock Shootout at the Lakeside Marina in Grove. The shootout begins on Saturday, July 9th and will conclude with an award ceremony at the Lakeside Bar and Grill on Sunday, July 10th at 5 p.m. All racing events are free to watch, so make plans to bring the entire family for this high-speed race. If you need more details, head over to GlockShootout.com. If you're a history buff or just curious about how a hydroelectric dam works, we've got good news for you. The Grand River Dam Authority is offering free tours of the dam now through Labor Day. Come to GRDA's Ecosystems and Education Center in Langley anytime between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to learn about the dam that makes Grand Lake possible. Visit GRDA.com for more information. Well, that's it for now from the Grand Lake Chronicle events page.
Welcome back to Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake. I'm Royal, in for Christy. Now, when you hear the voice of our next feature, you're going to know who it is immediately. A broadcast Hall of Famer and the former voice of KRMG Radio. I'm talking about the one and only John Erling. He's been working hard to preserve the oral history of Oklahoma. Take a look.
And I call it back when radio was fun, because today they are kind of a utility. They're traffic, news, and weather. But we did a lot of crazy things, and it was fun. People say, why'd you come to Tulsa? It's because I needed a job. Because in Omaha, Nebraska, I was fired for telling a joke. And then I went to another radio station, and that station was taken off the air because the owner tried to influence a United States senator with a brand new Cadillac, so they took a station off the air. So there I was sitting without a job. And so I got a job down here. It was just on a whim, just on a lark. And then I fell into the best part of Oklahoma, what we call green country. And the biggest stage in Tulsa was KRMG with, huge, huge numbers. And, I had probably 10 minutes of news in the hour, 5 minutes news in the bottom of the hour, and the rest of it was playtime. And I had to come up with something to fill that time. Well, it's that stuff between the newscasts that helped me do what I wanted to do and helped me raise money, and the Tulsa Mountains and all those things could be developed. Now, when I came to Tulsa, John Mullen, also known as Ugly John's Boats, he started advertising with the radio station, and he got me to endorse him. And then he'd have me out to the lake, and he would say, well, you can take this boat for a weekend, and that kind of thing. Ugly got me involved in boating, and then I was able to buy one, and then we were there at Keystone for a while, and then we needed to come to Grand Lake, and then we needed to buy a house, and so that's the journey that this has been. The thing for me is I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I like to work with my hands. I have projects, and so once we bought this project, this place, it was like I had a project every week. I could see something that needed to be done, And then Monday morning, it would be getting all the supplies. You could hardly wait till Friday to get back out to the lake to make those projects happen. And then you feel good about that. When it came to recording all these voices, I knew it was a website where they needed to be based and housed. I talked to these people 2.5 hours, and they tell the story, and it's on voicesofoklahoma.com. I've interviewed Wanda Clark. Wanda Clark came from Oklahoma. She went to Los Angeles. She was looking for a job as a secretary, and somebody said, well, Lucille Ball is looking for something, looking for a person. And Wanda went over and knocked on the door of Lucille Ball's house and says, come on in, you're hired. If you're a friend of so-and-so, you're mine too. And she worked for her for 50 years. And Wanda now is retired out here at the lake. There's another man that lives out here, is Dr. Bruce Howell, and Bruce Howell was a superintendent of schools in Tulsa Public Schools, and he's become an historian, writing stories, books about Northeast Oklahoma, and the dam is a very interesting story, and I've interviewed Dr. Howell about that. You know, Franklin Roosevelt was coming from Texas, and his train would be coming through Veneta, and the city of Veneta said, we've got a statute that says any sitting president who comes through on a train has to stop in Veneta. And so, of course, the president would want to honor that, and when he made that stop, there was a contingency of people from the area who wanted to get his attention, and they were there, and they held up a sign, and they yelled at him and said, we'd like a dam, we want to create lake water here, and so forth. And I believe he answered directly to them, well, when I get back to Washington, I'll see what I can do about that. Well, of course, other people then went to Washington to follow up on that, and he remembered that, and so it created money and funding back then for Grand Lake. It's been a wonderful thing for our family and friends, and I didn't even envision what it's become back 26 years ago. So this is all, you can call it by luck, direction of God, whichever you want. I prefer the latter, and it's worked out very nicely for me.
Now, John has been interviewing people like Oral Roberts, Henry Bellman, Barry Switzer, and even the late Wilma Mankiller, plus many, many more. If you want to listen to more of John's interviews, go to voicesofoklahoma.com. Now, if you want to keep up with all the season's shows of this year's Living Grand on Grand Lake, all you have to do is go to our website at rsu.tv. We have past seasons and we have this year's episodes, and I think you'll really, really like staying up to date with all the shows. Stay with us. Coming up, Hook and Cook-Off.
You two look happy? Is there anything else I can get for you? Okay.
Cherokee Casino and Hotel, West Siloam Springs. The feeling stays with you.
For me, it was my father who inspired me to join the military, to serve my country. When I was in Iraq, it was an interesting place. There were language barriers, safety barriers. It was a very tough mission. It was August 17th of 2004 when I would hit that improvised explosive device roadside bomb at about 12:04 in the afternoon. And then October 1st, 2004, after battling about 40 days in ICU, my left leg was taken from me. When you're in a place like that, and you're looking at your life, you have to have a focal point. And that was my mom, who was there for me during the toughest days. She would say, you can sit there and grieve, or you can get up and succeed. And I know you're gonna get up and succeed. Those words of power would be the building block for me getting up and succeeding in life. At the Folds of Honor Foundation, we give scholarships to the spouses and children of the fallen and wounded. Each and every day I look and see that and hear these stories, it inspires you. Family comes up to me and says, my children are going to school because of what you do every day. And that is the American spirit that we talk about it, and that is what makes us the greatest nation in the world. My name is Major Ed Polito, and I am proud to have served my great nation, the United States of America. Hoorah!
Welcome back to Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake. I'm Royal in for Christy. The 23rd annual Hook and Cook-Off is always one of the best events on Grand Lake. It features some of the best fried fish you can find anywhere, along with live music, vendors offering their wares such as jewelry and crafts. Take a look.
Third year being out here at the Hook and Cook, being the title sponsor. It's a great opportunity. We're really proud to be here. It's really an honor to have an opportunity to give back to the community.
I worked for Northeast Oklahoma Electric Co-op 36 years, and then I was mayor of Bonita for 17, and on the city council about 13 years.
I live over by Big Cabin. I've been in this area all my life. I moved here in about 1980, and I've got a little ranch over in Big Cabin. I raise some cows, and then I work in the bank as well.
Well, the first fish fry I ever did was 1972 for REC over on the lake, and just started from there. And then after I retired from REC in 2000, it really picked up. Everybody needed something, and it's hard to say no if somebody's got cancer, you know. And we did one up at Welsh for a couple that both of them had cancer, and it's probably in their 30s, maybe 40. And a little girl up there, 13 years old, we did a big fish fry for them. And Welsh, they have 300 to 500 people show up for a benefit. In Bonita, you might have 100, 150 at the most. I live in Bonita, but I have a place over on Grand Lake by Cleora, Oklahoma, and that's where I keep all my cooking things, you know.
One of the things one of our trademarks, we do free lemonade. So we got the free lemonade right out front here, folks. It's going to be hot today. People are going to be eating. People are going to be looking for something to drink. We're going to have it right here. We got a lot of games out here for the kiddos. We love being involved with kids things, and so we got plenty of things for them to do.
Well, what they do is they sign up different teams, and then the bank or whoever has a team recruits who they want to help, you know. And so we helped Bank Grove last year and won a couple trophies.
We usually do this on our own, but the last couple of years, I've seen Joe and I, we've been friends for a long time, and I thought, hey Joe, why don't we team up? And last year we teamed up for the first time, and we did great. You know, of course, with his expertise in cooking, and of course I've got a little bit of a team that'll kind of work the crowd a little bit. It works out great. As far as Bank of Grove, we're a fairly new bank over in Grove. Actually, the owner, Ed Townsend, he sits on the board for GRDA. He used to own local Oklahoma Bank, sold it to IBC Bank, got bored and decided to build another bank. So he built another bank in 2008 there in Grove, and right now it's about almost a $180 million bank. Done very well. He's done a good job at that. But Bank of Grove is, it's solely owned by him. It's, no debt on it. It's a good bank.
Fish batter, it's just kind of a cornmeal flour, maybe a Bisquick or a pancake mix, and salt and pepper, and then some other special seasonings. And then for the hush puppies, we use salt and pepper, garlic powder, cayenne pepper, baking powder, and sugar, and then corn, bell pepper, onion, jalapeno pepper, eggs, and buttermilk, that sort of deal. So we have 2 or 3 other things we use in the fish batter that we just don't tell anybody. One's a cereal.
This is a great way to spend a Saturday, meeting all the folks from the greater Grand Lake area and all the surrounding communities.
Well, that's it for this edition of Living Grand on Grand Lake. I'm Royal Ailes. Thanks for watching. Make sure you keep up with us on RSU.TV. You've been watching Mid-America's Living Grand on Grand Lake. Bye-bye.
And this is Living Grand on Grand Lake.
This is Living Grand on Grand Lake.
Mid-America's Industrial Parks Living Grand on Grand Lake is made possible by
It was important for me to stay in Pryor because I have a lot of family around here, and that aspect is very important in my life. I first started going to RSU my freshman year of college in Pryor, and from that experience I was able to meet some people from Orchids through a scholarship that I was receiving, and they offered me an internship, and that internship turned into this position. Working for Orchids has been a phenomenal experience. They have brought me into the real world with open arms. It's great that Mid-America companies like Orchid contribute to scholarships like mine that helped me get my education. There's no limit to what you can do out here.
Also by
Grand River Dam Authority is Oklahoma's state-owned electric utility, fully funded by revenues from electric and water sales instead of taxes. GRDA electricity touches 75 of 77 counties in the state and serves as an economic development engine for all of Oklahoma. At no cost to taxpayers, GRDA also manages 70,000 surface acres of lakes, including Grand Lake, Lake Hudson, and the W.R. Hallway Reservoir. Annually, the efforts of Team GRDA facilitate over $450 million in economic activity in Oklahoma.
Plus by
I had the drive to boost my earning power.
I was driven to be more competitive in the job market.
Finishing my degree. That's what drives me.
If you left college without a degree, Reach Higher, Oklahoma's degree completion program, can change your life. You get affordable tuition, flexible class schedules with online options, and a degree from a state university.
I was driven to earn my diploma.
And I did it.
Apply today at reachhigheroklahoma.org. Let your drive drive you.
and by viewers and members like you.